Hi guys, this is Logan and Maggie, and we're going to discuss specific things that we noticed during the Cinematheque, where we watched 3 episodes of Insecure.
The first impressions of our environment were that we originally had thought that there would be mainly students, when in reality, we walked in and were surprised at the amount of adults in attendance.
Our own performance during the Cinematheque was that we took notes, we were engaged, we laughed, and we were also super upset, as normal, at the way that Issa and Molly act in response to men and their own words.
Regarding our own specific backgrounds, we both think that we struggle a little bit when it comes to picking up on some particular racial innuendos. Maggie and I both come from very conservative family backgrounds. We both went to conservative Christian schools for middle and high school, where it was a predominantly white population. At first, it is surprising for the both of us that we even watch videos like Insecure in class, because from high school, it would never happen. For these reasons, we often do not pick up on specific racial innuendos when we have not experienced them before. However, after specifics are brought up by other classmates, they become much more noticeable. It is hard to pick up on things that we might not know about or realize at first, especially since we do not grow up being exposed to them.
For example, when watching Issa Rae's video, Black Twitter Party, we personally thought that the race of the characters was not necessarily essential to the video. They could have been white or Asian, and the video would have still had the same characters, content, and humor.
We are going to highlight some of the specific things that happened during each episode. In the first episode we watched, Issa and Lawrence start off the episode by getting in a huge fight at Rite Aid about her birthday. Later on, Issa's in a meeting with her job, We Got Y'all, and she came unprepared. Issa was supposed to give a lecture about specific ideas she had to bring to the table for We Got Y'all in a student activity day. As she came unprepared, including her colleagues and Joanne, her boss, saw this as her not trying hard for her job.
In the next episode we watched, the main event was Issa's big fundraising event for We Got Y'all, which she had been working very hard on. At this event, she's confronted by Daniel and then Molly, where she has to face the consequences of her actions. Issa and Molly exchange words at the party, and they each point out each other's flaws. Issa tells Molly how she can never keep a man and that her standards are unrealistically high, while Molly tells Issa about how she has cheated on Lawrence with Daniel. Interestingly enough, each of them has no problem dishing it out to the other, but neither can take the truth about themselves. You can tell that they still respect each other's words, though, because Molly goes to Jared's house afterwards and attempts to lower her standards. Issa is confronted by Lawrence when she gets home and is forced to admit that she has cheated on him.
In the last episode we watched, Molly and Issa are still in a fight about their conversation at the We Got Y'all event. They have not had time to talk it out and get over it. However, they are now trapped in the same area when they go to Malibu for Kelly's birthday weekend. While they are away, Issa is still very sad about hers and Lawrence's alleged breakup, and she pretty much grieves the entire time. Lawrence goes out with a few friends to a strip club and gets a lap dance from a stripper. He calls Issa immediately after and says that he wants to talk to her. In the meantime, Tiffany calls Issa out for her and Lawrence's breakup and how she hasn't told anybody. Molly and Issa make up in the end, and they drive back home to Lawrence, only to find that he has moved out of the house. The scene ends with Lawrence having sex with Tasha.
During these episodes, we could make some comparisons to other texts we have read and watched. The biggest comparison between these episodes and another text was Brittany Cooper's Respectability Politics. In this text, Brittany Cooper talks about Bill Cosby and how he has become a conflicting part of the Black community since he had a huge investment in lecturing to Black people about upholding their side of the bargain in respectability politics. Meanwhile, he was accused of sexual assault to about 30 women. We related this specifically to when Issa was unprepared for her meeting in We Got Y'all.
In fact, it was her own event she was supposed to have specific ideas for, but she instead came unprepared and was not fulfilling her side of the bargain. In her own way, Issa did not uphold her side of the bargain for We Got Y'all, which was to come prepared to the meeting with ideas that would be most beneficial for the kids' fun day, but also within the Black community. In Brittany Cooper's view, Issa was not helping the fact that the black community tries to work incredibly hard to be treated as equals among white people. Brittany Cooper ends the lecture about Cosby by saying that it was people like him that play into the stereotypes of black male racism. Even though Issa is not a black male, it still relates to respectability politics and the way that the community is trying to gain equality.
We can relate these episodes to Awkward Black Girl's Guide chapter on Black women and Asian men due to the scene where Molly turns down the Asian teacher. She does not even give him a chance, which contrasts Issa's views that the two races should be together. This scene really showed Molly's unrealistically high standards for her partner and can be related to the fact that many black women have higher standards for their partners than, quote, normal black guys.
Finally, we can relate the last episode to the reading Strong Black Woman by Joan Morgan. Issa decides not to tell her friends about hers and Lawrence's breakup, and it is showing the fact that she wants to appear strong even in her weakest moments. We are unsure why she does not want to tell her friends about this pivotal part in her life and relationship, because if it was us, we tell our best friends everything. I think that Issa is a very weak person, but always tries to come out on top and seem like she is the strongest. She puts on a facade on top of everything going on in her life. In another way that she appears strong is in the workplace, when her colleagues say racist and stereotypical innuendos that are unnecessary and uncomfortable. In these times, she always takes the high road despite her apparent disgust, showing that even amongst racism, she can still be strong.
Okay, so some of the quotes from the episode that we found to be interesting are in episode 1 that we watched where Molly says, quote, "He could be different. You never know," end quote. The thing is, though, that she says this about all of the guys and she never changes. She only expects others to change for her.
Also in episode 1, when Joanne is talking to Issa about her lack of hard work in We Got Y'all, she shows that she is not living up to the standards of the department. Joanne says this quote to Issa: "The leader that does not take advice is not a leader." After she says this, she makes sure Issa knows that this is a quote from a Kenyan leader, further showing the stereotypical and racist parts of the show that come from white characters.
When Molly goes to Jared's house and tells him that she needs to, quote, lower her standards for him, end quote, this shows her egocentrism, but also an effort to change finally, and the fact that she is taking what Issa says into account.
So next we're going to talk about some of the questions that we had during the screening. So the first one is, why does Daniel feel the need to show up to Issa's function? And then as we were kind of thinking about it, we came to the conclusion that we thought that according to Issa's bathroom maps in the mirror, she thinks that Daniel is still into her, and he tells her that he wants to speak to her face after she ignores him for a while. If he might have had any thought of getting together with her, she kind of shattered that quickly, and he left.
Our next question is it significant that Lawrence decides that he misses Issa while he's in the strip club? We think that it is significant that Lawrence calls Issa because he feels kind of guilty about the stripper. We also think that, as we learn later in the episode, he moves out of the house and goes to have sex with Tasha. I think that Lawrence is really confused, but also still wants to get back at Issa for her cheating on him.
Another one we had was, why does Lawrence call Issa to come back just to move out? And then also while we're thinking about it, it kind of goes hand in hand with the question we just asked. I think Lawrence is trying to make Issa jealous and have her want him more for the chase, and maybe even realize what she's missing out on since she cheated on him.
Our final question is, why doesn't Issa tell her closest friends about her relationship issues with Lawrence? Is it because she thinks she will get judgment like she does with Molly? So, Issa probably doesn't tell her friends about the fact that she and Lawrence broke up because she doesn't want Molly to be right about her relationship with Lawrence, since that was one of the main points of their argument at the fundraiser. Also, we think that Issa already feels judged in her day-to-day life, and she doesn't want to be even more outcast from the group.
So that basically concludes our podcast. We would like to thank you so much for listening and being fully engaged in our great video and our insight on Issa Rae and how insecure is just really weird. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Woohoo!